Hey guys, it's Lori with Voice in the Dark. I really just felt compelled to talk more about human rights. It seems that somehow we're getting so far away from what this country was built on, and the United Nations, and everything else that means something to us. Um, it means that you're allowed to be a Jew, or you're allowed to be an Islam or Muslim or a Christian. We're allowed to be whatever we want religiously, and we're allowed to be whatever we are sexually. And I understand how some people that don't like the LGBT, whatever, I can't say all those letters, but gays and that. They just don't want to hear about it, and the transgender and the bathrooms and all that. But it's just the media. We all have to realize that the media is what's driving us. Is that who we want to drive us? Or do we want our hearts to drive us? I mean, that's my big question right now, because we're beautiful beings, and you are, I am, and everybody, and it's okay what they do, and that's what this country was built on. And I guess I'm really having a hard time with hate groups. You're allowed to have your opinion, but you're not allowed to go after people or hurt people. None of us are. And it's just really wrong. And you should appreciate your freedom of speech. But don't be violent with it. We have suppressed women, children, blacks, and let us not forget Native Americans and indigenous people all over the world, let alone religious people of every walk. Even the Christians think that they're being condemned, and I've never seen a hide nor hair of that, but they think they are. But they're not. Stop letting the media drive you. Drive your own damn self. That's what we're made for. We're made to think. And if you're drinking and you're getting all wound up on your own little program of propaganda, keep it to yourself. Go hide in the closet. When you're sober, come out and talk with a normal speech. Because you have that right. You have a right to drink, but you don't have a right to be loud and obnoxious and mean towards people that if you were sober and you had a good life and you were happy, you wouldn't hate so much. We've all had experiences that make us want to hate people and hate different groups or whatever, but you can't group everybody together in any way, shape, or form. And there are no fucking boxes. I hate to break everybody's bubble, but there isn't. And I'm glad there's no boxes, and it's getting more and more evident. We weren't meant to be in boxes. We were meant to be unique. And be beautiful in that uniqueness. And be able to walk tall and proud. And to be able to not have to hide yourself from somebody's children. Their children are well versed on the fact that they exist. We exist. Everybody exists. I don't want the media telling me what I should look like at my age and what I should wear, and God forbid tell me what the hell to eat, and how to behave, and how to cuss or not cuss. If I thought that there was enough adults out there that deserved respect, then maybe I'd watch how I talk. Like I told my mother a long time ago, I haven't seen that in adults yet, because they're still raising children that have strong opinions and they're hateful, or they're arrogant and they're hateful, There's one thing about, encouraging your children to have a good sense of confidence, but it's also important to encourage them about teamwork and that there are all kinds of people in this world and they all deserve a right. Anybody that's taken breath has a right to be and take up space. And we should encourage them and we should love them and we should care. I was in high school. Well, I was out of high school. I was going to pick up my sister. And I'm sitting out there and the buses are waiting and stuff, but I see 5 boys beating a mentally and physically handicapped boy with a big stick. And nobody. The parking lot was full of adults, parents. Mostly mothers, but who cares? Mother gets out and yells at them and they're going to go, Not one person got out of their car. I did, though. And I threw a couple of them around. The other 3 took off. But I yelled at them, I know your parents. And the first thing I did was make sure a young lady took care of the young boy and put him in his bus and that he was okay. It is not okay to allow that kind of crap to go on and then you want to get real toity on me and be worried about how I speak when you don't have the balls to get out of your car and just yell like a good parent would. Hey, knock that shit off. Those boys would have ran. That kid would have been all right. And the boys never would have done it again. But instead I had to. And I wasn't that much older than them. But they knew I was strong. And they knew I'd hunt them down and knock the shit out of them. So, but that's me. I don't expect other people to do that. But what I do expect, that if you want to demand respect from me, well, then you're going to have to earn it. Just like I taught my children when it came to teachers and coaches and everything else. They have to earn that respect. You don't just give it blatantly. And take your time learning to see if it's worthy to give them that kind of respect. So you can get off your high horses and your toityness and your mean, rough, Hoosierness, whatever, and start looking at each other as human beings again, not as economic divisions, not as educational divisions, no fucking divisions at all. We're all human. And I have seen genius in some of the poorest people. They didn't have a pot to piss in, and they grew up that way, but they were brilliant in their ingenuity, Yankee ingenuity, that kind of stuff. So what I'm saying is that we're all missing something if we're leaving anyone out. We're all important just as much as the next one. Our shit all stinks on a good day, and we all are imperfect. Absolutely imperfect. But you know what the beauty of that is? Is that the only true beauty and the only true truth is chaos. And then when you sit and look at the chaos and observe it, go out in nature, you'll see. You'll see why that flower went this way instead of straight up. It went over and around another flower or another type of plant. Observe the world and start with nature, because she'll teach you a lot. There is no perfection except nature and in the chaos. And it's the same way with the universe. And it's the same way with us. Chaos is what keeps us going, because it keeps us thinking, it keeps us being creative and changing and evolving. That's what we're supposed to be doing. We're not supposed to be at each other's throats. We're not supposed to hate each other. You're no better than me. As a matter of fact, if you are, then your responsibility is to help me and to help others that are less than you. If you have strength, if you have intelligence, if you have lots of money, then you need to help others. that are less fortunate than you, and the planet as well. You can't just take from her and then neglect her. Everything in the universe is energy. Everything has source consciousness to some level. And our responsibility of being what we are, our intelligence, our grandeur, means that we should be the caretakers of the planet and the caretakers of those who are less than us. And that's what we should be teaching our children. We should be teaching them meditation in first, second, third, fourth, fifth, every grade, starting at first. It helps align us with source, our soul part, and our human part, and our mind and our heart. Think about all the things that you used to have fun doing, besides being, the cocky, sports person or whatever, and running with the boys and thinking all that. But think about the moments that made you your happiest, that truly made you your happiest. And if you haven't experienced this, then you haven't lived yet. And that's helping another who has less than you. I volunteered for the Special Olympics one year. And I got to be on the track, and I got to cheer them on, and come on, and then hug them in the end. And when they get across the finish line, they didn't care if they finished first. They were just damn glad they finished. and they were so happy and proud of themselves. Because you see, they want to feel the same way normal people do. They see what goes on. They just can't accomplish it in the same ways. And anyway, those children's faces, the bright face, they made it over the line. They might have been 5th, 6th, 10th, who knows. We quit counting. We just waited for each one to cross the line and hug them and be proud of them, because that's what they needed. Encouragement, no matter what their facility is. And the same with people that are less than poor, less than financially able. How could you dare even think that it isn't appropriate to have most of our taxes, not even most, it's a small amount of our taxes, that goes for all these programs and stuff. Even I've had to utilize them. Even now in retirement, I've had to utilize them. And the thing is that not everybody can have the same kind of money, because that's not how it's built. It's built on tiers of financial success. All the jobs have different, and I don't know who decided and made these tiers, but they're there, and that's real. So you want to down and think that, they're pitiful people if they decided to be a janitor. Don't you think they have a right to eat properly? There are so many things that I find very hard to understand from people that are well off and just arrogant, and that yet they want things for themselves, but they don't understand that we have to provide for everyone the best we can do for the good of all. So if you can afford it, you take care of your stuff, and the government's going to help make up the differences with our tax money, and it's important to do that. The big thing we need to look at is the war machine. It shouldn't be as big as it is. It was never meant to be, if you read the Constitution. And I'm not into politics, but I am into the Constitution and the Bill of Rights and human rights. Stop being divided, and stop thinking about your damn Democrat or Republican. Start looking at people as people. Our senators and our president and our vice president and our governors and everything else, what are they actually doing to keep our Constitution, the Bill of Rights, in working order? Something fell apart when we allowed them to bust up the media and make it a conglomerate. That was the first step to the downfall of what we're going through and seeing now. And let alone all the other regulations that have been busted since then. So I just want everyone to stop and just shut up and think about your neighbors when you were younger. You know, Whitney Houston did that song, The Greatest Love. If you really listen to it, it says, listen to the children, remember what it used to be. Children don't know prejudice. Children don't know division. They don't know that they're rich and that little girl, their little boy they're playing with is poor. They don't know if they're black or gay. They don't care. It's a person. We can learn a lot from our children. So watch how you're talking in front of them. And they hear everything. So if you're talking in the house or anywhere where they're close, they're going to hear it. And they're going to hear your attitudes and they're going to grow from them. They aren't going to understand them completely, but it will change and work them. Is that what you want? I don't think so. We all say we want peace and love and all that, but do we really? Do we know how to be that way? I wonder how we're allowing the things that are going on right now to be going on. And I'm looking at it from everything the government's doing and not doing, particularly not doing, and what we're not doing with the division and the hate. And I'm just one person in a big world, and I know that. But I'm also a mother and a grandmother. I have a lot of friends and associates, and I hope that my audience eventually will be my friend too. And I'm not trying to put anybody down for anything. I'm trying to get you to think and see that we're all responsible to make this difference. All of us are, not just some. And we have to stop being kitchen, coffee and beer ideas on what makes a good world. Instead, we need to get active and involved. And no one person has all the answers. That's why Congress is the way it is, the Senate, and that's why the system is set up the way it is. And we have to get more involved locally. We have a right to our voices. We must use them. We do not have a right to violence, but we have a right to our voice. You can't barricade roads because that just upsets everybody. But those people that get upset about the roads being barricaded by the blacks, why don't you get off your ass and for once help them get the message out that, hey, they've been mistreated. So have the Indians, so have women, so have children. Find whatever moves you. And if it moves you in a negative way, that might be an area that you need to be working in positively. So I just wanted you to think about it, that's all. It's something that's been bothering me, and I'm sure it's bothering everyone after all the violence that's gone on lately. And we used to pay for mental health. We used to have places to put people when and mental health problems. But we busted that all up too. And the thing is now because of the way the recession is, and this is the funny part, and I want you to all think about it. Major corporations are having the biggest and boldest rises in oh, you know the word, profits than they've had in years, eons. I think they're hitting records right now. But the recession's killing everyday people. Now, between gas and food, electric, everything we need. Have you noticed that? Everything we need is being jacked up. How long are we going to take this? That's what I want to know. How long are we going to take this? As long as you have enough money. I told people, I said, well, until it hits the upper middle class, it'll never change. Because nobody listens to poor people. So I'm asking you, are you human? Are you a robot? Because that's how it looks to me. You're either going to help or you're going to be a robot. Plug in. Forget the world. I'm hoping that you'll be human and that you'll read the Constitution and the Bill of Rights and start double checking on our governments, local, state, and federal. Because we are the people, not them. They work for us. And the world conglomerates, they have to work for us too. But nobody seems to know that. All you have to do is say, I do not consent. Put it on your Facebook. Put it on your YouTubes. Put it everywhere. Put it on your car. Get a sticker made. I do not consent. That is our right to tell them to stop and knock it off. They weren't supposed to make rules for the whole governing of the earth without our consent. So wake up. Anyway, that's all I got today. I love you, and I had to get that off my chest, that's all. But I meant it. I meant every word. So don't think I didn't. I did. And I'll get back to reading the Constitution for you and the Bill of Rights and human rights from the United Nations. We need to wake up and we need to care about other countries. But first we got to start at home. And then if we can make a stand, because we're the country that can do it, then others will follow because they'll have strength with us behind them. This isn't just about us, and this is more like a spiritual warfare. And if you can't see that, then something's wrong, and you need to reevaluate yourselves. And the other thing is that there's other things coming in the future, near future, that are going to make us question and doubt and go crazy and confuse us, and you better know how to understand your intuition, and you better get to know your neighbors. And camaraderie is what we need, not division. Trust me. We're running out of time for the next big thing that they're going to hit us with. It's coming from space. And they're trying to use our fear because they feed off of it. Our fear is pretty strong, and then our anger. Oh my God, they really feed off that. Don't let them do it. Learn to control your temper. Learn to control your feelings. Observe your feelings. Acknowledge them. But do not let them own you or become your essence. Because that's what they want. That's what they need. We're not alone in this universe. You cannot be blind to that anymore. And God is real. So start praying. But But when you talk to God, talk to him for real. I talk to him like he's my best friend. He's been my best friend all my life. But I learned to listen. It took years to figure out how to meditate, because Jesus said he had to meditate to listen to Father. But, we don't do that here. Anyway, it took a long time, I had to be in my early 20s when I finally learned how to meditate. And it's an eye-opener. But it's a beautiful experience, especially when you get to the point where you reach that point of true silence. All you feel is unconditional love. Everything's dark, it's black, but it's quiet. There's no sound. There's no, your mind has stopped. And you're there. And then you know God. And you know what we're part of. I recommend it to everyone. And it takes time, though. It takes patience. Start out slow. 5 minutes a day, twice a day. Because then your spirit guides, angels, whatever you want to call them, I don't mind. I'm going to call them spirit guides. But the angels are there. And that way they know when you're going to be there. Just with your intention to be open to the universe, to God, Goddess, all that is, Source. And then they'll know that you're serious, and you'll start feeling the difference. You'll start feeling God and the universe. And it's something everyone should feel. And it will calm down those fears that are deep inside you. Anger is nothing but fear. You're afraid of something. So learn to meditate. And I've got a beginner's meditation on my YouTube here, so you can go look it up. And I'm working on putting together 6 classes that'll help give you a quicker method to get down to the alpha state. I'm working on that one, and that'll be free. And then, meditation will be much more enjoyable for you, because you'll get down. You'll feel that presence. You get down quicker. And I learned it through hypno meditation, so I'm going to do a hypno meditation course so that it would help people like it did me. And so look for that coming up. And our world, it's this simple. It's this simple. Our world, this universe, works with us. If we're happy and content and grateful and loving life, it gives us more to love. However, there's things that come up. They come up because we either lost an attitude somewhere, had a fear somewhere, or it was karma, or it was nothing. It was just life. That's it. So, if you want to see a better world, those of you that are extremely negative, the only way to do it is to change yourself. And once you do, your world has no choice but to change into something good. So find all the things that you love the most. Turn off that damn TV. The media sucks. Don't get on don't be on social media and YouTube's all day and Netflix. Make time to be dead zone, outside with nature. Learn to relax in nature and meditate and allow the universe to show you what it's made of. I don't think you'll be disappointed. And I love you. So if you need anything, everything's down in the description. My email and all that. It's at the bottom of the description. I always put those those other things on there for you. But it's at the bottom of the description. You can email me. I do healings, and I can do readings if you want a reading. Not quite like the regular tarot or anything, but it's similar. And if you need a prayer, I have the gift of prayer, so get a hold of me. And then anything else you need, just holler. And making a commitment to be on here every day if I can. Now that I've retired, I went through a lot of big life changes in the last few months, and it's been a little weird for me, but I'm getting back to normal. So thanks for listening, and you know, next time you see somebody that doesn't look like you or act like you, go, wow, that's cool. Isn't that a cool person? Yeah. And then maybe they'll see you as cool, even though you're different. Because I don't think anybody realizes that when you're looking at somebody different and putting them down, did it ever dawn on you that they're looking at you the same way? I mean, come on. So it's better if you just think they're cool and they'll think you're cool, and we're all cool, we're good. I have learned through a lifetime, and I have met thousands and thousands of people, and all over the country and the world. And I didn't care how different they were or weird. My father called them weird sometimes, because you always got the weirdest friends. I said, well, I have friends that have a good heart. I don't care what they do for a living. I don't care what they are or who they are, whatever. As long as they got a good heart, they're my friend. And you would be smart to do the same things. I have a lot of good friends. And, you know, most people's little circle is 5 people, might be 25. Mine's 60 to 100. And it gets a little bigger each process out. But it's because I love people the way they are. I like differences, because what would this world be like if we weren't different? It'd be like a box, and gray and ugly and black and white. What the hell's that? You know, I like color. I'm sorry. Colorful language and colorful clothes and artwork. Just think about it. There's nothing wrong with the way you are, whoever you are. But there's nothing wrong with that other person either. Or that person, or me, or, you know. Or God. There's one source, one big source that we're all from. But we have a right, an inalienable right, to worship God in any way we want. Whether it's through saints being Catholic, or whether it's through Jesus being Christian, or Buddha, Shiva. So please stop looking at people like there's something wrong with them, when in all reality the only thing wrong is your perception. You've twisted it to make yourselves feel good. You had to have different language, different mannerisms, everything to feel different, because you want to be proud of your money. You want to be proud of where you are. You want to show off. Don't tell me it's not pride. It is. We used to have neighborhoods, and we had the rich guy on the corner, we had the poor guy in the middle and on the end of the street, and we had everything in between, and we all played together, the kids. We knew to go to the rich kid's house first on Halloween because they had the best candy. And, but it never bothered us that they were richer and we were poor. The kids didn't care. We all played together. And it happened for a long time until we started divvying up people into these subdivisions that created, and I don't think we did it on purpose. I think it just accidentally happened, but we started dividing by economic standards, and that's wrong. Otherwise, don't get mad when the poor people want to make more money because they want to be able to eat and wear clothes like you too. So you can't have it both ways. And abortion, it's been going on since the beginning of time. It was a woman making a smart decision. It's the soul we're supposed to be worried about. So we need to be worried about the person that's alive and healthy. And these are our rights as women. Don't go backwards into the Neanderthal days. Well, if you go back to Neanderthal days, hell, it was the woman that had multiple husbands because she knew the intelligence behind multiple gene pool. So, however you want to do it. But you need to look at everything, and you need to settle down and care about each other. And that's the old Mother Hubbard in me that's giving you a lecture now because it needs to be given. And none of us are perfect. And your parents make mistakes. I made a big one this year, and it seemed to upset everyone and their brother, including my children, which baffled me. And it almost scared me that they didn't see me as human, like them, capable of making mistakes. So, your parents are not gods. They are human. They have their mistakes, they have their problems, just like you. It's just that they have to put them on the edge of the counter or near the trash can because they've got responsibilities, just like you're going to have and everyone else has. So just try to be kind to each other. A smile goes a long way to a stranger on the street. You got $1, give them $1. God looks at what your heart is doing. He doesn't care that you gave it to somebody that's a drunk and he's just going to go buy a beer. It's okay. That's not your business. It's not your business how they spend it. But it is your business giving from your heart and not caring what they do with it. You're just giving from your heart. That's what counts in heaven. That's what counts to the soul. So I'm asking everyone in the world to please start looking at each other nicely and interested. We're all interesting. I love people. They're a trip because we're all different. Everyone has a story. Everyone. Don't miss the stories. And don't leave the old people out because that's where the really cool stories are. I know things about people that have been in my neighborhood that are older more than their families knew. And that's something. And all I did was give a gentle ear and a care and a smile. So they spoke. And it doesn't take long. It's like when you're raising kids, you know. If you give them that 2 or 3 minutes that they want, it's usually 60 seconds at the most. Sometimes it's 5 or 10 minutes, you know, if you got it. But the point is, it doesn't take that long to talk to a stranger in a grocery store that might seem like she or he needs a little help. Or smile at somebody on the street. Or you notice your neighbor hasn't been out much. Maybe you ought to go knock on the door and see if they're okay and take them something, you know, a plate of dinner or, you know, dessert or whatever. All I'm saying is that we need to slow down and love each other more. And especially now, it's imperative. And the violence has to stop. And the only way it's going to stop is if we change our own attitudes, our own person first. And then spread that love, spread that joy, spread that camaraderie, kindredship, whatever you want to call it. But it's family. There are no races. There are indigenous beings. There's, different cultures. But there's only one human race, and that's us. And we come in multiple flavors, colors, and hormones, and you name it. We got it. Mine's 57 and everything else. So, spare me all the bullshit. Let's just get going on the love. And we need to love fiercely, because you know why? That's the only thing that'll overcome the hate. When people get rolling in hate, it's because it's a high. It's an adrenaline high. Well, we got to be able to show them that we can give you an adrenaline high being loving, being good. Because the person that's all full of hate right now, they've never known kindness or goodness. All they've known is bantering and abuse and hate. That's a legacy from a family that creates that. And that's why I'm saying it has to start at home. It has to start with each one of us, with ourselves, to change. And then our families will come around, and our communities, and then our states, and then our country, and the world. So if you really want to change the world, change yourself first. And I mean change. You wouldn't believe how negative we talk to ourselves. Especially those of us that came up in abusive homes or in violent homes. And I'm talking violent in the sense of just yelling and screaming all the time. And the fighting between the parents. That's enough to drive a kid nuts. And we get PTSD, and they call it complex PTSD, because we've been under a lot of trauma. So we have problems with insecurities, we have problems with a lot of things. But the thing is we've got to get help too, and so that means all of us have to get help, because the bulk of the country, the bulk of the world, has dysfunctional families, and a lot of it revolves around booze, from our age group down, and then the rest of it, it's got booze and drugs, and that's just a chemistry for violence and non-presence. It's not healthy, no matter which way you look at it. So I say to all the young people, get help as soon as you turn 18, if your parents won't let you now, which they usually don't. But get help as soon as you're old enough to be on your own, and fix yourself before you get, too old to care, or so old that you got no choice, because you know what, I'm not living like this, and it's hell in my head anymore. So start on yourself first, and watch Abraham Hicks and Joe Dispenza and Gaia and Mind Valley. I mean, there are so many cool new things out there that we can do to heal and to overcome and to grow and to become even super beings if we wanted to. Don't you want to be a superhuman? Even at my age, I would like to be a superhuman. Maybe a super mom to the world. So, straighten up. Let's get this done. I can see sunshine and, roses and daisies. So, let's just slow down a little and get along and encourage each other and help each other. Even if it's just with a, hey, how's it going, neighbor? Good. Good. Need anything? No. But thanks. Got it? Okay. Thanks. I'll see you on the next one. Talk to you later. Lori out at Voice in the Dark. Talk to you later.